Hey, this is Deeva Gordon from DEU, coming to you with the Deeva Show. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. I am currently speaking with the wonderful, phenomenal young lady that I've known for some time. And today we're going to be talking a lot about Suicide Awareness Month Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which is September. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of that, but September is definitely Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And we have with us today Miss Yolanda Johnson Young, who is a phenomenal person. And I'm just going to say she's a phenomenal person because I've known her for years, so I know she's a phenomenal person. I've known Yolanda, which we lovingly call Lonnie, for years. And we met in high school. And I'm just going to say throughout the years, as we all know, everyone goes through different things at different intervals and at different times. But I'm just going to say that Yolanda has the strength that many wish that they could have in a lifetime. I will say that in these past few years, there have been some events that have taken place in her life that has actually propelled her forward in her journey in the help for suicide prevention. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her film. We're going to talk about her documentary, your first documentary, Yolanda.
Yep,
Finding Elijah. Your first documentary, the 15-minute and then a 25-minute. And we're going to talk about what took place in between and some of the things that went on into developing the first one. And I know it's a difficult topic. It's not one that I know it's not an easy topic to discuss. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a journey to help save lives.
Absolutely.
It is a very difficult topic to discuss. So I'm going to welcome you, Miss Yolanda Johnson Young, to the Deeva Show.
Thank you.
And I know this morning you just did an on-air show this morning, correct?
Yes, Fox 29, Good Day Philadelphia with Mike, Jarek, and Alex Holly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's today is World Suicide Prevention Day, September 10th.
Suicide Prevention Day.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back.
Sure.
And you and I talked, and when we talked, you were talking about what could have been prevented as far as what happened with Elijah. And from what I gathered, even though our conversation was very difficult, is that at that time you just knew that this is something that could have been prevented on many different levels.
Oh yeah. I think it begins with the mistrust of the medical community that the Black community has, and the stigma associated with mental illness. You know, I think that from the conversations that I had with him, he didn't want to go get help. He didn't want to get the help. You know, and it's very important to just as if you were to break your arm, you know, or you discover that you have diabetes, you would go and seek treatment for that. You know, you would try to work it out and fix it so that, you know, you can live your life happily. And it's the same thing with those of us who are dealing with mental health challenges. You know, you just have to get the help, you know. There's so many things when you talk about systemic racism and oppression, it trickles down into every every situation that we go through, you know. And I mean, I can't fault my son for not wanting to get the help, but I wish that he had gone and get the help that he needed, because, you know, to acknowledge that there is something wrong is the first step. And with that, you have to get the knowledge and the information and go and get the treatment that you need, you know?
Right. And one of the things that we discussed is, and I know that you have also shared with many, and forgive me all if I do not, because I will be sharing this Zoom meeting. If you're unable to see it right now, I'm working on it. I'm having technical difficulties, but you will have an opportunity to view. And for those of you in my radio world, it'll be on YouTube as well. I know during that time that you also shared with me the detectors
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hotel, outside of just reaching out. And I understand the importance of it. And before I go into about the carbon monoxide detectors, I'm going to say that many do have that stigma when it comes to mental health, and it's a lot in the African American and people of color community.
Yeah.
It's a stigma that is a sign of weakness.
Yep. And
It's
then you have the religious community who say you're gonna go to hell. You know, so, and then you can't just pray it away. You know, you can have, I think you can have Jesus and a therapist, you know.
and you know what? And I'm going to piggyback on this and say this. You know, one of the things that my pastor says, and he says it often, is that you know, and I'm not going to go into the fable that he gave us to work on, but one of the things that he said is that people often say, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And the thing is like, a lot of people don't recognize that God's answered their prayers, because they're not looking past just the prayer. Prayer takes work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you have to work along with the prayer. You just can't pray everything away. So just as you said, praying is one thing, but God also placed other tools here for us to utilize.
Absolutely.
And going to see a therapist is one of them.
And that's a strength. That's not that's not considered a weakness. It's strength when you go to get the help that you need, you know.
Right. And too often, how could I say, many, you know, will say, well, it's not that bad. I don't need medication. It's not even all about medication. Sometimes you just need an unbiased person to discuss some
Just need
things
to
and give you a
talk.
different view.
Yeah, talk it out.
Exactly. So I know one of the things that we discussed when you were beginning the film journey, I know you were talking about the carbon monoxide detectors that they do not have in hotels, Airbnbs, and it's not required.
Yeah, well, the hotels have them, but they're not hardwired to, let's say, if you have either off-site security or a security person there who can monitor, you know, whether or not those detectors are inoperable, whether the batteries have died, whether it's been removed from the wall. Like, I think that there should be some type of alert system for the hotel industry. Now, the Airbnbs recommend, they don't require them, and that just bothered me, you know. I mean, just take suicide off the table. We're spending $150 to $300 to stay in a location, and we're not properly protected from carbon monoxide, poisoning. It just doesn't make sense to me why it's not a requirement for Airbnbs, why it's just a recommendation,
Right.
and they need to install them, monitor them, and when one of them becomes inoperable, then they need to quarantine that space until they can either replace the battery, fix it, or whatever they need to do. But I just don't, I think it some people say, well, he would have done it, he would have found some other way to do it. Okay, but he wouldn't have done that. That may have been just the time he needed to reconsider,
Right.
So yeah, I started a petition on change.org because I really would like to see some legislation, to change that, and not just that. When you're dealing with mental health crisis units, see, after he passed away, I went on a hunt. I tried to get all the information I could get about what happened to my son. And one of the pieces of information I was able to gather was his intake form from the mental crisis unit that he checked himself into. And he did have me listed as his next of kin, but the very next box was who to contact with information. And he left it blank. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should have to fill that section out. And just like with a reference on a job application, someone in the administrative office needs to call and verify that this person and it's okay for us to give you information, but he left it blank. So that's another piece. I have not yet started to push that yet, but
Okay.
that is another thing that I'm going to be pushing between the carbon monoxide detectors regulation and some type of, I guess, a right to know, when folks are either voluntarily or involuntarily admitted into mental health crisis units, that they have to fill that form out completely, and that the staff is required by law to verify that information. Because at least I would have known where my son was. He was missing for almost a year, and there were other things, because he had spent time at a youth shelter here in Philadelphia. And I had already put my police report in. So I just couldn't understand, because my mind was basically spaghetti. I couldn't really think. My critical thinking skills were extremely lacking at that
Which
time.
is understandable.
Because, and replaying it over in my mind, I'm like, well, how come the police couldn't track him to that shelter? But then you have privacy laws with the shelters. But I don't know. It's just so many what ifs and woulda, coulda, shouldas. And, so that's one of the reasons why I made the film, because if it could happen to me, it can happen to anyone,
Right.
So I just wanted to put that together to, number one, honor my son, because as a grieving mother, my first feeling was, oh my gosh, nobody's going to get to know how cool he is. You know what I mean? I was just so upset by that. But the reality soon hit that this will help other people who are in similar situations,
Yes. And you started your film during a very difficult time. Because you're not talked on the phone, and you were getting things together. You were still pulling, how can I say, not pulling, but you were still retrieving information
Yeah.
of his journey during that time. Your first film that you did was about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, in me watching the film, it blew my mind. It blew my mind in a lot of different ways, because we could be so close, but yet so far.
Yeah.
And through creativity, that you displayed in the film, it gave your audience a look at Elijah in such a beautiful way.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful way. And it was only 15 minutes, but it told a lot. And when I'm going to, not just saying that it told a lot, but it gave people an opportunity to look at some things that many don't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could say it that way, many don't see. Um, but it was done so creatively, and this is your first time doing a film, a documentary, and you did it at Scribe, and it was just a wonderful experience. And like I said, myself being a filmmaker, we make certain choices when it comes to doing film, and I just say that you made a lot of the right choices when you make your first one, and which branched you into the second. But I'm just going to say the second one was 25 minutes, which was even more astonishing. And at this point, you're an award winner on many different levels, because during this process, and like I said, you have the strength that I can't even imagine. During this time of you grieving, you developed such a oh my gosh, how could I say, such a following of people in understanding, recognizing, and being more aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you a quick break, and what we're going to do is we're going to come back. We're going to talk about what's going on now with you. We're going to talk about the different festivals that you're a part of and what you have coming up. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back, and we're going to finish discussing, and hopefully I can get me up on this screen too.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to come right back with Miss Yolonda Johnson Young. We're on Sador Radio. This is Deeva Gordon with Sador Radio, the Deeva Show, and we will be right back.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right. Why can't I get my view up here? Where's my video? I don't understand. Where is my video?
I'm back.
All right. That's fine. Give me just 1 second because I'm
Okay.
finishing up. I just played a song. I just can't understand why I can't get my video up here. It's just this is really driving me crazy.
Alt V maybe. Let me see. Alt V. Yeah. Alt V. Try Alt V.
Alt B?
Alt and V like Victor. There you go. There you are. I'm going to unpin my video now so that we can both be on here. There we go.
Oh my God, yes. I'm like, guys, come on. Like, come on, let's do this. Because I'm like, let's not do this again. We didn't video before. Like, I can't. All right, cool. So let me just, all right. This is excellent. As soon as this song is off.
Okay. And I absolutely love your braids. I need to do a little something with my little fro here. I'm thinking of doing that. I love it.
It's not even done.
Look, the picture that you showed the other time, you still got them hands. I was like, oh, I need them hands.
Listen, I'm just saying, and I still gotta I still have to finish it. Oh, okay. So they can still hear my conversation on the radio. No. Good thing we're talking clean.
Okay.
You're on Sador Radio, listening to the Deeva Show. We are talking with Miss Yolonda Johnson Young, and after we finish listening to Janet, we're going to come right back and jump right back into it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Had to lock that so that they couldn't hear me. Oh my. I'm glad he texted me. Because he did text me and ask me if I needed help. But when you're in the mix, it's like you're trying to fix it like now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a technical glitch this morning. It was a mess. I had to link up I had to use my Alexa device to make a phone call because Benjamin took the cord out of the phone I had charging to use this morning for the interview. I was like, wait, my phone is dead. I had 15 minutes to get online. Like, what am I going to do? I said, girl, figure it out. I said, you have that Alexa device. You can call people on that. You can put the headphones in that. And I had to hurry up and add them as a contact and tell Alexa to call them. And she was like, I don't have a contact number for Fox 29. Do you have their number? I rambled the number. I said, dialing. I said, yes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes.
Today,
Mm-hmm.
your film is screening also, right?
Today, no. What's screening today is a film that I made about making my film with the OC 87 Recovery Diaries. And that is going to be, I think that's going to be, is that going to be on, I think it's going to be on a YouTube Live. Like we're doing like a Zoom and they're linking it to the YouTube so that it can screen. My film will be screening with 2 other projects. And that starts at 8 o'clock tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
But the regional broadcast is with WHYY, our Channel 12 station, and that'll be on the 29th of September at 7:30.
Okay. Listen, we're gonna talk about it all. I'm excited for you. I really am.
It is more than I could have imagined because I didn't go to film school, and people that go to film school, there's a particular curriculum and way that they approach filmmaking, to monetize your films, and I wasn't really, that wasn't my setup, to monetize the film. It was very cathartic for me. It was just to purge the sadness because I knew that I couldn't walk around with.
Hold on to that. Hold on to that. We get ready to purge right back.
Okay.
Go right. I'm saying purge. You are here on Sador Radio. This is Deeva Gordon, and I'm interviewing Miss Yolonda Johnson Young. Miss Young is a filmmaker, and Miss Young developed film during a time when she was grieving the loss of her son, Elijah. Death by suicide, carbon monoxide. And we're talking about her journey during the film. And we were just, while we were on a break, we were just talking about it. And I can't imagine the strength that it took, and it still takes. And I also understand it's a part of healing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just saying that, finish what you were saying just now.
Yeah, the sadness, the pain, and the anger that I was holding on the inside after losing my son, it was almost too much, and I said, I have to figure out a way to get this out, and the initial motivation was to share him with the world because, when you lose your child, like every hope, dream, and aspiration also goes away, and I was like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. He never got a chance to make his movie, so we'd often talked about movie ideas. We watched movies together. We watch it for the first time just to enjoy it. And then we may watch it 2 more times, one time to talk about the cinematography. The next time we're looking for Easter eggs. I don't know if you know what an Easter egg is in a movie, but if you're in a scene and then the camera goes to one character and then it goes back to the other character, something's different about them that wasn't in the first inclination of that scene. So those are called Easter eggs. And we would search through these films and find all these little things. And he was my film buddy, and I said early on, well, this will be the film that he makes, and it was very important to give him a voice in the film. That's why I scoured through his social medias and whatever devices that I had available to me to get into, to find pictures. And if there was anything I was talking about in the film, I tried to relate the pictures, the visuals that you were seeing. So I looked through the dates, and if there was anything that I was talking about that was a particular time in his life, I made sure to find pictures that showed that, so like I said, it was just really important for me to give him a voice in the film, and after realizing that not only am I healing, purging, and just trying to heal, that it would also help other people who may be in similar situations, you know, because I mean, there were things that had happened, you know, no family is perfect, you know,
Hmm.
but
Right.
when he came to me, he was about 17, almost 18, and he said that he thought something was wrong. And I said, well, let's go get the help. He was like, well, I'll think about it. I'm not ready. I don't know if I want to do it. And knowing what I know now, I have a 12-year-old at home. And if he said something like that to me, oh, I would have to drag him kicking and screaming to the doctor. I would not
Hmm.
just say, okay, well, I'll let you think about it. I'll let you work it out. No, we're going to get help, you
Hmm.
know? So it's been a learning process for me too, you know? So, and I mean, I know I'm not the smartest person, you know? I believe that I do have a good level of intelligence. So I'm looking at it like, pull back and look at the big picture. I'm like, yo, if this could happen to me, it could
Hmm.
happen to anyone. And nobody talks about it. Nobody's talking about it, you know,
Yeah.
because most people are like, oh, therapists, oh, that's for so-and-so people. That's not for us, you know, but yes, it is for us, especially for us because of all of the things that continue to happen um, to us as a people. You know, there is definitely a lot of stress to maintain this image, you know, especially for Black women. Now, for Black women, we don't want to be labeled the angry Black woman, you
Right.
know, and our Black men, they don't want to be portrayed as monsters or violent, you know, but
Right.
those are things that were put on us. And then we are trying to maneuver and navigate through life with those circumstances weighing on us to try to navigate through this life. And it's not an easy thing, you know. So I do believe that all the help you can get it, you know. And the mistrust within the Black community for the medical community is definitely valid, you
It
know.
is.
It's definitely valid. We don't want the Tuskegee experiment. We don't want to be Henrietta Lacks, you know what I mean? We don't want any of that. And we don't, you know, when you think about how they sterilized young Black women, you know, to control our population, you know, the whole
Hmm.
world is going to be brown in a minute anyway.
I believe so. I
Everything's going to
truly
be
believe
brown
it.
in a minute. But yeah, I just really think it's important for everyone to check, what is it, check up from the neck up, you know, like make
Check up.
sure
Yes.
that
Oh my
you are
goodness.
okay, you know. You can, it's okay to have the feelings that you have.
And see,
What's not okay is to hold it all in and then allow what's on the inside to affect on the outside in a negative way, you know.
correct. I'm a strong believer in, like you said, get a checkup from the neck up.
Yep,
You
yep,
know, it's important, and you know, it took me until adulthood. I'm just going to say it took me until adulthood to realize, like you said, that it's okay to ask for help.
yep,
You
yep,
know, it's okay to talk to someone that is unbiased,
yep,
uh, that can give you a different view of your situation, and that can possibly help
yep.
with your situation. So during your journey, you became a member of Shift Media.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a
Ooh.
little bit about Shift Media, because Shift Media is
It's actually SIFT. Sisters in Film and Television. So it's SIFT.
SIFT,
And
no H, people.
we are more than a movement, okay? We
Hmm.
are a group of women of color filmmakers who mainly are creating content that is a social justice type films, you know. And we actually just started, I guess it was in, I came on board, I guess it was February or March of 2019. I met one of the other co-founders, Nadine Patterson, at Good Pitch Local in 2018, and she offered mentorship. So I gladly accepted being a new first-time filmmaker. You know, I'm like, okay, well, teach me. You know,
Oh,
I'm ready to
wow.
learn. I'm ready to learn. So she had been asking me to come out to a weekly meeting that she was having. You know, I was a little apprehensive, you know, only child loner type situation. So I was like, I'll think about it. She was like, you really should come. So I finally went, and then it was just an amazing sisterhood, you know. We encourage one another, we amplify each other's work, we work on applications for different grants and different fundraising activities. I could have never imagined, you know, something like that, because it, yeah, we're steadily growing. You know, there are some
Hmm.
things that are in the works right now that I guess I shouldn't really mention yet because they're not solidified. But there are some things that we're working towards to make the group legitimate. You know, open
Hmm.
up our membership to other women of color filmmakers, so that, you know, it's not about getting knowledge and holding it to yourself. You know, it's
Oh, I'll
about
say
when
that all
you,
the time.
you know, I call our the main co-founder, Nadine Peters, I call her the Harriet Tubman of filmmaking, because she broke through and she said, I'm gonna bring y'all too. Come on, just come on, come on.
Amen.
You
Yes.
know. And she also
Hmm.
did We Are Free because of Harriet Tubman, and she premiered her film at Black Star this year. So
Oh, wow. She did at Black Star. I remember I did
yeah.
come and in support of you. I came out
In
where you all were.
2019.
Yes,
Yes.
and I watched her documentary as well as yours, and I can say that I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I
Hmm.
enjoyed the films, but I enjoyed the atmosphere as well, because you can go anywhere and watch a film.
Yep.
However, the atmosphere that was presented there was just so comfortable, and it was just so relaxed, and it's almost like you could feel arms around you
Hmm.
somewhat in the industry,
Yeah.
where in some settings
Hmm.
everyone is like closed, like
Hmm.
it's a competition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't feel that in that environment, and it was very inviting for me to come back, because me being a filmmaker myself, it's just that for some reason, because they give awards and because the recognition does push you up the ladder, so many times people don't realize that you should only be in competition with yourself to make
Yep.
yourself better, make your project better than your last project, to show your
Hmm.
growth
Yeah.
from your last project. But too often, uh, not only in film but also in theater, in the industry, people seem like they're in competition with each other. So
Yeah.
the idea of having just pleasantry and conversation and
Hmm.
communicating and just breaking bread with each other is just, it's stale, if that makes sense.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, once I realized that I was doing this film, you know, I said, wouldn't it be something to get it into Black Star? Now, so I finished the film in May of 2019. And when I tell you, because I think you and I've crossed paths, was it 2015, 2016? We had crossed paths. I was taking Elijah to different filmmaking things because at that point he had already started college. So he was going to the Art Institute, honor
Mm-hmm.
student, Dean's List, all of that. So I had always held Black Star close to my heart, you know, because it's in Philly. It was run by a Black woman. I was like, oh, I love this, you know. And one of my goals was to have my film at Black Star.
Mm-hmm.
So the film was accepted. The festival was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in August of 2019, the first weekend in August. I attended on Thursday. and had something that did not agree with me. I don't have a gallbladder, so certain things just don't work for me. I ingested the wrong thing on Thursday. Friday, I stumbled and not stumbled, but I just fumbled my way through the festival. And Saturday, I was home. I couldn't go back. Sunday was the final night in the award ceremony. I'm in the bed rolling and moaning, and I get a phone call. I couldn't even understand what she was. No, award. I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, you just won an award. I was like, no, Finding Elijah wasn't up for any award. She was like, you won the Audience Choice Award. I was like, oh, wow. So not only was I able to make my directorial debut at our hometown festival, it also won an award. I was like, okay, all right now, what's going on here? And it just continued after that. I think September was kind of slow in 2019, but then in October, I had the October Film Festival in Brooklyn, which it won an award. I had the Real Sisters Film Festival and Lecture Series. It won an award there. Then I had the Baltimore International Black Film Festival. It won an award there. So those three back-to-backs all won. And I was like, oh, something's going on. Then I get contacted by the Black Gatsby Film Festival, which is in Oklahoma. And there's another story behind that, but the director called me and she said, I just want to let you know you just won our whole festival. And I said, oh, wow. What? I said, how am I going to get to Oklahoma? Because at this point, I was doing small fundraisers on Facebook to try to get travel money for the festivals. And I didn't know how I was going to get to Oklahoma. I wasn't driving that 23 hours. So I said, well, they were trying to work out a way to bring me in and keep me for at least the day or overnight, but that never actually panned out. And listen, they're just them saying there was award is fine with me. They changed on Film Freeway to award winner. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And then we move on to November.
You've had a heck of a journey.
Yeah, November, the film was, accepted into a work in progress lab at the Cucalores Film Festival in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I think the film, I had a total of 4 screenings. They actually paid for me to get there, put me up in the hotel. They fed us every day. And I was like, oh, this is very interesting. It's very interesting. It's gone on to win awards this year. It's screened in, I can't give you an exact number of how many film festivals it's screened in this year, but it has won 2 awards from the Impact Docs Awards. It won 2 awards at the Revolution Me Film Festival. And the Mom Film Festival, it won Best Short Film. I said, wow.
And it's getting ready to screen on
WHYY on Tuesday, September 29th at 7:30. That's a regional broadcast here in our area. But I do believe that WHYY is going to live stream the broadcast on YouTube. So once I get that link, I will share that with you so that if there are people who are outside of our area who want to see it, we'll be able to see it, because I'm taking baby steps. Like I said, I didn't go to college for film. I went to college for business administration, concentrating in entrepreneurship and small business management. So that's something nice to have in your back pocket when you're doing independent filmmaking.
Most definitely. Because a lot of people don't understand they just want to shoot.
Yep.
Or they just want to hold the camera.
Yep.
Want to write and just produce. But if you don't know the business background and aspect of what you're doing, it's a waste.
Yep. And I am learning on the go.
Because you'll get eaten up and spit out.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this to somewhat of a close, not necessarily, but I want to wrap some things up. One of the things that I noticed and I recognize because I was reading your bio and I was reading the information that you sent me because I always like to prepare ahead of time. Your statement. This is very bittersweet, as there is no award or accolade that can replace having Elijah alive and well, but to know that our tragic story can possibly help another family, that's what I hold on to.
Yeah.
I recall a conversation that we had when you started this journey. When I read that statement, um, you had some outward questions that I made, we talked about. And making a film, I know, was difficult. It was an emotional roller coaster for you.
Yeah.
And one of the things, although you're winning the awards and the message is getting out there, one of the things that you specifically said is, and you say it all the time, I want people to be aware. I want to help someone else. But your work and the way that you did it, like you said, you specifically said one of the things that you don't want to do, and I'm going to tell you, you have not, in your message, in your journey, in your last film that I watched, a 25-minute one, you attended a support group. And I like that component of it because you let people know that they can get help.
Yep.
What are some of the groups that you have attended that has helped you along your journey in coping?
Well, the first organization that I reached out to is one that you just don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention website and see what they're up to today. That's not something that regularly you just wake up to do that. But something very interesting happened. I think it was in July. It may have been July or August after Elijah passed in 2017. And there's an artist by the name of Logic who had a song. And in this song, he was repeating the National Suicide Hotline number, right? The 1-800. I actually do not have it memorized, but it's something, something, something talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what's that? Right? I said, what's that? So I Googled the number and all this stuff popped up. I was like, oh, click, oh. So I found there that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has a walk every year. They have several different walks, but the one walk that I was interested in was the Out of the Darkness Community Walk, which brings together, this year will be a little different. It's a virtual walk. You walk with your own family wherever you want to walk. But normally it's at the Art Museum, and thousands of people who have had the same experience that I had. Just that feeling of so many people who shared the same experience and the camaraderie, it changed me, and I made a vow. I said, oh, I'm going to do this every year. And when I can't walk, my grandbabies or somebody's going to put me in the wheelchair and push me because I made a commitment, and how when we make plans, God says, let me throw that on there and see what you do, right? So last year in October, I found myself at a film festival, 2 screenings, 2 different festivals, one in Harlem, one in Brooklyn. And I said, I need to do the walk. Is there a walk in New York? So Jan Evans here in Philadelphia, the outreach coordinator here, she contacted me. She said, yes, let me connect you with the lady in New York, in Brooklyn. I walked in Brooklyn last year.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
and this year Benjamin and I will be walking. We will probably go over to near the Horticultural Center, near the Mam Music Center, and walk in that area.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm gonna have my little selfie stick and record, you know. But that was just one thing. And I also found on their website there is an advocacy component where you sign up, and it's I wish that I could get everyone to sign up. You know, I've posted little things on Facebook, but I don't think I have been as vocal as I can be about it. But if you go there and go to be an advocate, what will happen is anytime there is any legislation going in front of the politicians about suicide prevention and ways to help, they'll send me an email. I add my little personal piece in there and click send, and it goes straight to whoever my representatives are in my area. And that's something that we all can do. You know,
Yes.
it takes 3 to 4 minutes to complete that. And you know, every time I get the email, I do it because it's important. You know, they also have Suicide Loss Day. I believe that's in November.
Okay.
And that is for adults only. And we all get together and we talk. Sometimes they have like a short film that they'll show and different activities, and you can share your story. And it's good for me, you know, because I was lost for a minute. You know, I was like, well, the family didn't want to talk about it. You know, his brothers, my ex-husband, they didn't want to talk about it. So I'm like, well, what do I do with
With
this
this emotion,
angst?
with this
You know,
feeling.
yeah, you
Mhm.
know. So I had to find ways to cope, and I can honestly say that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has been a lifesaver for me, you know. And not only do they help people who have endured a suicide loss, they work with people who have made attempts, who
Mhm.
are in a not so good place. You know, they have all kinds of help. And it's unfortunate that I know all of this, but I know it and have the knowledge for a reason, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it's as they say, it's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
Um, your life has it was permanently changed, you know,
Absolutely.
but it's not over.
Nope.
It's not over. Um, your I will say that your delivery of the information in telling Elijah's story um, gave me an opportunity to know Elijah outside of what happened,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely.
Um, which that's why I say I really love the way that you delivered his story because it was informational, it was very creative, and it let his light shine in a different way, you know. So I truly appreciate it. Can you tell us where outside of, because you did tell us that it's going to be on WHYY,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I know that you're in the festivals now, and when you're in the festivals, you can't do it publicly.
Right.
But for those of you that are in the industry and those of you that are curious about watching the film, um, you have a 15-minute and you have a 25-minute. Is the 15-minute film available, or are they both still in the
Yeah,
festival?
they're well, the 15-minute version is I actually screened that in November at a festival here in Philadelphia, and after completing the 25-minute version, doubling back to see the 15-minute version, you know how some filmmakers are like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I'm never going to watch that, or I'm never going to screen that again. In my heart, I'm like, that 15-minute version is not going to be seen anymore. I didn't, and that's why I did the 25-minute version, because when I watched the 15-minute version, I said, wait, hold on. I'm responsible for the energy that I bring into the room. I can't just drop that in people's laps and just be gone. You know, I have to do something to add and to show that there is hope after suicide loss. You know, you may not go make a movie, but there is hope afterwards, you know? So I don't believe I'll be showing that 15-minute version anymore. You know, it the whole message wasn't complete. You know, it wasn't complete. So that was just my test run, you know, just to see what I could accomplish. And after accomplishing that and seeing it, it was like, you know, I really need to add some more things. So I guess we finished that one in September of 2018. And December of 2018, I attended an event that Senator Vincent Hughes and Cheryl Lee Ralph, his wife, did at the School of the Future. And that was on December 15th, 2018. And now let me backtrack for a second. When I decided to start production, I started production on May 18th, right? At the annual Out of the Darkness kickoff event that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention does every year. They didn't do it this year because of the COVID, but that year when I went, it was at Chickies and Pete's, and it was at their gameplay location. So when you walk in, it's in the film. When I walked in, it was just so much activity going on. And I mean, it was like a rally, you know. There were pom-poms, there were claps and applause and cheers. And I was like, what is happening? You know, what is happening here? But I did my first production shoot there. I did a couple of interviews there, and I really appreciated the fact that this was something that they do to kick off the season for the walks every year. And at that function, I was supposed to meet a woman by the name of Shelley Lephart Williams, who was the person of color outreach coordinator. And 2 weeks prior, I got an email that said she couldn't make it. So I was a little heartbroken, you know, and they passed on some other people for me to talk to, which I gladly accepted and moved on. Well, fast forward to December of 2018, and I'm at the event that Senator Hughes does, and the women all broke out into one group, the men all broke out into another group, and I'm down in the front of the auditorium, and everyone's standing up and saying what they need to say, and someone behind me stood up and mentioned, my name is Shelley Lephart Williams, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. Well, I almost broke my neck, because we had never met face to face. We had only talked on the phone and through text messages. So my head went, and I said, oh, and I went to talk to her. And I didn't realize at the time, hadn't put it all together, but that was the reason why in May, she couldn't do the event, because she was sick. So I spoke with her. That's the same day I met Philip Roundtree, who's also another Black mental health professional that's in the 25-minute version. And I met him there as well. And they both agreed to film with me. And 2 weeks before that event, I had done Good Pitch Local Philadelphia and was offered a full day professional production.
Wow.
And I said, let's do that on, February 9th. In 2019. So I was able to set up my schedule, and I had both mental health professionals come in and do their respective interviews. And that was when I also filmed a piece for the OC 87 Recovery Diaries. It looks very similar to my film because we shot it the same day.
Okay.
But he just shows little blurbs of my film, you know, and he talks about what he talks about. So that's happening this evening at 8:00. But that whole process for me, I just knew that I had to have more information. You know, I I didn't want to just leave people with that dreaded feeling of, oh my God, is this going to happen? What do I do? Da, 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 da. Like, yo, it happened. It can happen. And this is what you can do if it happens. And this is what you can do to try to keep it from happening.
And
You
that's what
know?
I think that's why I said to you when I talked to you after watching it, I was like, oh my goodness,
Mm.
it's full circle, you know, resolution, but not necessarily resolution, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
so that was a very key component that I like that was placed there. Because a lot of times people want to discuss the issue but don't want to discuss a resolution,
There you go.
discuss a way of handling the situation. They just want to discuss the
Yep.
situation.
Yep.
So it really helped to bring it kind of full circle,
Yeah.
so that when one does watch, you not only get to learn about Elijah, but you also get, how can I say, some key factors of certain things that happen. Uh, Also, you one of the things that I remember that you talked about in the film is the fact that he worked, right?
Yep.
Filmmaker,
Yep.
creative. Uh, I did a stage production called Faces of Life, but that film production was about cancer, cancer prevention, things of that nature. However, the name of it still somewhat applies. And the reason why I say that is because when I say Faces of Life, people often put on faces.
That mask.
They put that mask on,
Yep.
and we don't know what's behind the mask.
Yep.
So
Excuse me.
your film gives a look into, like you said, if Benjamin came to you and had the same statement, you'd be like, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
let's do something.
Yep.
Um, and one of the things that we talked about just recently, because I have another friend, childhood friend,
Yeah.
that is currently dealing with the loss of her son with death by suicide.
Yeah.
Um, I can't encourage people enough to talk as
Yeah.
much as possible as you can, to my listening audience. We just want to share with you, and this is Deeva Gordon with the Deeva Show. We're talking with Miss Yolonda Johnson Young, and we can't encourage you more to reach out to someone. And if you can't talk to a family member or a friend, reach out to the suicide prevention hotline. I wish I had the number in front of me. Suicide prevention hotline. I think I'm going to pull this up, so that you have someone unbiased to talk to. And today is Suicide Prevention Day.
Yep.
This,
World Suicide Prevention Day, like the whole
it,
world.
yes, and this entire month,
Yep.
September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Is never passe to reach out and talk to someone, and I do have the telephone number.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking through all these papers. I'm like, where is
It's
it?
all right. I got it. It's National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Yep.
And it's open 24 hours. They have every language. It's 800-273-8255. Not only that, you know how we always pull up our laptops to go on Facebook, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They also have live chat. So if you just type in, like I just did, if you type in suicide prevention, it'll come up.
Yeah.
It'll come up, and you can chat with somebody. They have an official website, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and reach out to someone.
Yeah.
And never think that your issue or problem is too big, too small. Just reach out and talk to someone. And
Yep.
you can be anonymous,
Yep.
but reach out and make sure that you talk to someone if, and it may not even be necessarily, because sometimes we often have problems, and I'm just going to put myself in the pot. Sometimes we have issues and things that we're dealing with that we don't realize how it affects us. It affects our health,
Mm-hmm.
our physical health, in every possible way. You ever meet someone? Well, the other day I held the door open for this woman, and I was going into the post office. So I held the door for her, and people don't realize how energy transfers in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I held the door for her, and she never said thank you.
Mm.
You all know how that gets under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking, of course, me with the smart mouth that I can have at times. Some people don't know that I can have that at times, but I can. And I'm like, you're welcome. And she turned around and she looked at me like she wanted to say thank you, but she wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
But her whole aura was just, I could just see it was negative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know what happened to her before she got there.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? I don't know what is going on in her mind. I don't know what upset her.
Yeah.
So while that was important to me for her to just say thank you, she might have been in her head and thinking about something, and you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we just you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and whatever she was going through at the time, which caused her not to say anything, it may be little, it may be small, but it may have been something that was occupying her mind at the time that she
Mm-hmm.
just didn't want to turn around and say, thank you. But I'm saying all of that to say is that we all have something going on. It could be small or it could be large. But if we talk to somebody about it, sometimes we can get out of our heads,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because I often say that, people are like, what's on your mind? What you think? I'm just in my head.
Right.
But if you share with someone, you can come outside and play with everybody else.
Yep. There you
If that
go.
makes sense.
There you
You know what
go.
I mean? You can come outside and play with
Mm.
everybody else instead of being in your own head, because
Yeah.
we have these thoughts, and then we just get so engulfed in these thoughts and don't see that that other point of view, that if we were to sit and talk to somebody, they can tell us about, well, have you thought about this?
Bounce it back to you.
Right. Have you
Yep.
thought about that? Or more so, well, maybe you tried this. Have you tried that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I am going to get ready to wrap up with you, Yolanda. I truly appreciate the fact that you came back on my show, because we did the show, what, a year ago?
Yep.
It was a year ago, and my phone was not working for us to video the show. And I wanted everyone to be aware. And you also had a young lady with you from Scribe
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And we talked about the different opportunities that are at Scribe, and I'm just going to briefly give them their plug. Scribe is, I'm going to let you say, it's a video center, correct? Is it?
Scribe Video Center is a community media center, which they allow people in the community with little to no film experience to tell their stories. They help you tell your stories. They have workshops year long. I did a film scholars program there. It was a year-long process to learn the art of documentary filmmaking. And it was the most, it felt like family, because I felt like an outsider, not having any experience with filmmaking. I felt like an outsider, but the way that they opened up and just took me in, I'm like, wow. So they'll get my annual membership money every year.
I know that's right. I know that's right. And
Yes.
they are located in West Philadelphia.
39th, and it's still on the corner of Spring Garden and Lancaster Avenue. Near
Right in
39th
the
and Lancaster.
center of community.
Yep.
Center of community.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are unaware that we have all of these opportunities like right in front of us. And so many times you hear people say, oh, it's right at your fingertips, and utilize it. A lot of times we don't. And you did, which was,
Okay.
it was an awesome, awesome thing. Okay. So, you just shot me over the trailer. Now, is that
Yeah,
public?
if you can do a screen share and play it and people can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1
All
minute
right.
exactly.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
actually, this one's 30 seconds.
Get out of here.
This is a 30-second promo.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do that in just one moment.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read off a couple of things to my audience, because we're talking with Miss Yolonda Johnson Young, filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, who has, how could I say, created an extraordinary film that, how could I say, delivers a story of her son, Elijah, and speaking, how can I say this? I'm trying to find the words to describe it. Finding Elijah was developed post Elijah's life.
Yep.
Death by suicide, carbon monoxide. During her grieving, Yolanda wanted to tell his story. And not only tell his story, but also deliver a message for suicide prevention.
Open up the dialogue. You have to open up the dialogue.
And in that process, I watched the film. She had a 15-minute film that I had the opportunity to view, and also a 25-minute film that I had an opportunity to view. And not only myself, but many others saw that this film was monumental. It was put together very well. And as one of the judges says, and quotes, "The judges and I were simply blown away by the variety and immensely important documentaries we screened," which I'm just going to say, yours stand out. It stands out.
Thank you.
You have won multiple awards. You recently won the Mom Award.
The short film, yeah.
For short film.
Yeah.
And a list of many others that you have been a part of in festivals. Right now, the film is not available publicly. One day it will be. I'm going to show y'all the film trailer in just one brief moment, but I want to ask you, Yolanda, if you could tell everyone where they can actually follow you, to follow your journey.
Okay. I have Finding Elijah is on Twitter. I think that's at _ Elijah. No, it's at Elijah_movie on Twitter. And Facebook and Instagram are Finding Elijah the Movie. So you can look it up that way. And I am learning to post often about the different activities and events that are happening. As a matter of fact, the Harlem International Film Festival starts today, and I believe on the 16th, I'm screening there at 3:00. I'm not sure if this one is cost related. Some of the virtual film festivals are free. You know, some of them, they allow you to just register and you can watch for free. But I do keep it updated. All three of those websites or social medias. I try to keep them all updated with everything that's happening. I'll tell you that the whole pandemic has flipped me from just doing festivals to actually getting in there and doing a lot more. I'm blown away by the response at this point. Like, wow, you know. And that was something that when the pandemic first started, in the back of my mind, I was like, this isn't going to be good. People are not going to be, those people who are already on the edge, you know, this pandemic is not going to help them at all, you know. So I just hope that, especially now with the pandemic and the way things are going with telehealth, you know, just make the phone call, just make a phone call, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
So make sure that you check out Yolonda on all 3 platforms. With Finding Elijah, follow her journey. There's a lot of different avenues in which she's using to tell her story. And I'm going to play the trailer in just a moment so that you'll have an opportunity to get a quick view. And I'm wondering, if I click this, is it going to show it within?
Let's see. You would have to,
because I'm going to click it.
If you click it, right, it should open right up, and before you hit play, you should do screen sharing, and at the bottom of the screen sharing, it's going to say use computer sound. Make sure you click that use computer sound, because if not, it'll be a weird echo happening. And once you hit that, select the screen that you want to share, and then you can push play on the video. You may have to make your Zoom window, just make it a little bit smaller so you can see what's behind it. Or if you, let's see, did I just close that? I think I just
might have to post it one, because I was
gonna say, if you give me the opportunity to share my screen, I can play it from here.
Okay, that's awesome, because you know me, I am not that good tech-wise, but yes.
Okay, let me go back to my drive really, really fast, and if you give me permission. Listen, my technology is so I've been waiting on a computer since July. There is something going on with the supply chain from China with Apple, and they canceled my order. Number one, they canceled it and said you have to reorder, and what you want is discontinued, so you have to pick something else. I had to wind up paying an extra $200 for this other computer. So I was like, yeah. So I'm working with my little laptop here, and it moves as slow as it wants to. It doesn't, you know, go fast like I'd go fast.
I understand. Been there, done that.
So I'll try to get that right quick. I'm wondering if I could just play it from the link here. I think I can probably play it from the link here. Let me see.
You see, when I tried to play it from the link, it took me to a whole new window.
Okay,
so ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to get, if
it's open, and if you give me permission to screen share, I'll be able to play it.
How do I give you permission to screen share? Let's see.
Somewhere in your host settings, it should give you that opportunity.
Advanced sharing options. Who can share?
There you go. Mm-hmm.
But this, all right, how many participants can share at the same time? I have it on multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Okay, let me see if it allows me. Click it, click it, click it.
These people with this breaking news about this stimulus, we ain't getting no money.
Okay, so let me hit share computer sound. Let me hit share. And I believe my screen is being shared now. Do you see that there?
It just says Yolonda Johnson Young has started screen sharing. That's what it says on the screen.
Okay, so as soon as I get my mouse back, I can push play. Okay. Can you see it? You know, here's my July 4th baby. It's trying to navigate through the loss of someone by suicide. You know, you're just lost. What advice would you give a young black man? What would you tell them?
You know, it always starts with it's okay, right? It's okay. It's okay to feel.
That was my quick little 30-second promo.
Wow, that was powerful though. Listen, that was powerful. And I'm going to tell you, that was very powerful. African American male. That's African American male. So many men, and I'm just going to say, my father included. I saw my father cry 3 times. 3 times. He passed away 11 years ago.
He was a good man.
You know, I love my daddy.
Yeah. Remember when we almost became sisters?
Okay.
When my mom and your dad was dating, I was like, wait, what y'all doing? What y'all doing?
That was my daddy. That was my daddy. I'm like, wait a minute now.
No, it was so funny. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, me and Yolanda have known each other since we were, what, 14?
Yeah, 13, 14 years old.
14 years old. And I only saw my dad cry 3 times. When his mom passed, when his dad passed, and one of his best friends passed. Right? Alpha male, you're not supposed to cry.
Listen, because you know, being a black man in America, you want to cry every day.
Okay. Okay. So to have, for your trailer, to have an African American male say, it's okay
to feel.
I felt it. I felt it. Because too often, one of the things that I tell people all the time is that a man is a boy that grew up. Okay?
Yeah.
That boy fell, he cried.
Yeah.
He hurt his finger, he cried. Someone took his toy, he cried. But too often, stop crying, suck it up, you're a boy. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It isn't.
And I often, you know, say when my son was growing up, you know, it was difficult. I raised my son on my own. You know, you can't be, whether they say it or not, you can raise a young man, but teaching him to be a man
is very difficult for women to do that.
It is.
You know,
it's difficult. It's different, and you know, some men will say, "Oh, he's too soft because he's too emotional." However, and not talking about my son, I'm just saying when males see that a woman is raising a young man, oh, you making him soft. No, I'm making him human.
There you go. There you go.
I'm making him human because, you know, too often males are not allowed to feel, period. You know, when it comes to women, when it comes to females, when they get with females, period, you're supposed to be my rock. You're supposed to be my provider. You're supposed to take care of me. I need you to fix everything in this house and take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? Well,
yeah.
well, dang, like you know what I mean. But
yeah,
that's another whole show.
Yes, it is. Because I'm a mom of boys.
You know what I mean? Like it's just difficult in society for men, period. But I'll say men of color, they have to hold on to so much and take in so much with such a high expectation.
With grace, you know.
Right. Right. And they're supposed to carry it without expression, any type of emotion.
Even killed.
Right.
And most of the time, our young men who are having mental health challenges, the first time anything is addressed is when they are introduced to police.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They have got to, something has to change with the way, you know, I know people are, oh, defund this, defund that. First of all, get knowledgeable on what that exactly means. It doesn't mean pull all the money out. That just means reallocate the funds to serve the community better. You know,
Correct.
So it's just, there are things, and people get so caught on a hot topic button, like a word or a phrase, and they just want to dismiss everything about it. But if you actually take the time to learn about something, you'll see that there are hidden jewels in there. You know, there are hidden jewels. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because one of the things when they were talking about revamping it is when they were talking about reorganizing, so that if in fact a person is having a mental health issue, they would send someone out. People didn't think about this. Mm-hmm. They would send someone qualified
there you go.
in that area.
There you go.
To help them.
Yep.
Opposed to sending the police.
Yep.
How often have there been issues in mental health that the police had to respond to, but they're not equipped to talk someone calmly, you know, talk to someone, calm them down, and to help them mentally.
Yeah, they just, the police just shot a 13-year-old autistic Caucasian boy. The mother called because he was having some issues and needed help, and they shot him. He was 13. He wasn't even black. So they just don't. Something has to happen with the training. If they're not going to be trained to do it, then they need another section of the police department that are mental health advocates, people who are in the mental health field, who put them through the police academy, you know, or at least learn, you know, it has to be a mix. It has to be a blend, you know, get some mental health professionals in the police force and have some police force people take some mental health advocacy classes. You have to put a blend there because our society is crumbling. It's been crumbling for a long time, but we can see the cracks now.
Right. And just like you said, police officers in the city of Philadelphia now are required to have a college education.
All right now. So
why not add that part to be a part of the curriculum?
Yep.
So that they know how to recognize certain things when they see it.
Yeah.
And don't think that every situation is just the person on drugs or being erratic.
or requires force or violence.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. And there's some, of course, that know how to talk a person down and calm them down. But then there's others that just don't have that patience because they were trained to, as they say, protect and serve. And their whole thing is you're causing a disturbance, so we need to shut this down. And there comes the use of force.
And then I'm sure nobody really wants to talk about this because being a police officer, you're supposed to be this macho strong. They may be scared.
Yes.
You know, because they're people too. They just have on a uniform. They are still
people
who have feelings and emotions, and they can get triggered by things that they come upon in their line of duty with their work, you know. And not only do I suggest some type of training for the advocacy part, but stay on top of their mental health too. When I was in New York in October for those film festivals, the Sunday night before I had to leave on Monday, I decided that I needed to fall in love with New York again because I was angry with New York. New York took my son. So I said, okay, all the film festivals are done. Let me go to Times Square. And when I walked into the area, there were police with riot gear. And I was like, what's going on? Did something happen? He was like, no, this is standard operating procedure, blah, 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 blah. And I just went on to talk to him and told him why I was here. And he said, it's a big thing. We've lost 10 people this year so far. In his department alone. 10 people by suicide. Police officers in New York City. I was crushed. I was like, oh, it took my breath away. I was like, I am so sorry that that's happening. He said, because they don't want to get the help because they don't want their job in jeopardy. I said, you shouldn't fear losing your job if you need help. You should not fear to lose your job. Right. It's not fair. It's not fair. It needs to be, the stigma needs to be removed from all parts of society. So because one person acting a fool can cause a ripple effect for the whole community. Mental wealth is everybody's business.
Everybody's business. And I can't even imagine with everything that's going on right now. I know there are a lot of people with, how could I say, a lot of police hate in their heart. And how could I say this? I understand the frustration, but every officer is not the same.
Nope.
Just like every human being is different. I know quite a few people that are on the police force that get up every day, and just like you said, some of them are in fear. They have to stay in the front line because that's their job. And while they may understand and don't agree with some of the brutalities that we have seen, they still have to be there.
They have to do their job
on the front line.
Yeah.
Get ridiculed, things thrown at them, and take that risk. So I'm sure it's a difficult transition to go from that, because I know a young lady that is an officer, and when the protests, they're still going on, but I would say like in April and in June.
Yeah, it kicked off tough in June.
In June, it was at its height.
Yeah.
And she has 3 children that she's raising on her own. Going on the front line, working around the clock, because many of the officers were deployed to Center City to work around the clock, but leaving an atmosphere where you're being spit on, you're getting things thrown at you. This is when they set all of the police cars on fire.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I was so disappointed in our city with that.
Yeah. And then to go home to be mom to your baby.
With all of that inside,
Right. It's that mental health that it takes in order to cope. And like you said, no one wants to seem like that. No one wants to seek the help. I'm not going to say no one. Some do. Yeah. But I felt for her because I know that she's taking care of her young children. And just like you said, no one wants to say, I need help. Because as soon as you do that in some professions, it's like, if you need mental help, then you're not at a capacity where you can fully do your job. And that's not fair.
Because what they're doing is turning a blind eye to it when they should be opening their eyes and giving them the help that they need if you want them to continue doing the job the right way.
Right. Right. And i.e., if you have no excuse, absolutely no excuse. I don't want people to think that I'm giving an excuse. But if you're constantly in this environment, and that's just like the military, suicide is very high in the military. Yep. If you're in this environment where you have to be strong all the time and you can't appear in any way, form, or fashion that you're deterring from that strength that they're anticipating, expecting out of you, I think that they should make it more. I think it should be a regular evaluation.
Oh, absolutely.
Not an evaluation of whether you can do your job,
Oh,
but an
no.
evaluation to find out if you're okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure everybody is okay
Yep.
without any kind of penalties,
Yep.
ramifications, or anything
Yep.
like that. Just checking in on you. Is there something you want to talk about? Because you
Yep.
know, we could go on and on about
Look,
this.
it's hard enough being a regular person dealing with society. I couldn't imagine having to be a police officer. You know, Benjamin used to tell me he wanted to be a police officer. And I'm not the type of mom to say, oh no, you're not gonna do that. No, we ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. That wasn't my reaction. In my heart, I cried in my heart every time he said it. I was smiling and said, okay, all right. You know, but on the inside, I was just breaking down like, oh my gosh, you know, to be a Black police officer, number one, you know, people in the hood, oh, you that, you know, then your family members, you know, people that do a little this and do a little that, don't want you around. You know, I was thinking all of these things, and then the violence of it all, you know, and the racism of it all. In my heart, it broke every time he said he wanted to be, but I never told him, no, you're not doing that because blah, 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 blah. I never did that. What happened was he began to see things. He began to watch the news. He began to hear different things. And maybe last year or so, he was like, I don't want to be a cop anymore. I was like, okay. I didn't, hallelujah, Jesus, jump up and down like that. But that's how I felt on the inside because it scared the heck out of me just thinking that he would be subject to all of the things that our Black police officers are subject to. It frightened me. It frightened me. It made me so fearful. And I said, I'm just going to let Lord take care of this because
Right.
I will not crush his dream. I will not crush his dream. But God, work it out because
Yeah.
So,
And my dad was a firefighter for 35 years for the city. And he was not only a firefighter, but that was, well, they kind of do that now, but that was when they really, really doubled as EMTs. Let me tell you. And he was also in Vietnam. So if, like I said, 3 times.
Trauma, yeah.
3 times I saw him cry. So it's like, I know that he was dealing with some issues.
Yeah.
You know, he would often, he wouldn't actually talk so much about some of the trauma that he saw when we were little.
Yeah.
But when we were older, he would recall different instances and things that he saw. You know, when we were growing up, I'll never forget this one instance, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay. This one instance where I was very young. My brother decided that he wanted to play with matches.
Ooh, girl.
My dad, well, my mom already, tied fire to that little
Okay.
before my dad came home. And when my dad came home, boy, oh boy, was he enraged.
I'm sure he was.
And I remember, and I'm just going to say it, I remember that behind whooping. I heard it in my room.
You felt it.
I felt it. I went in my room and hid because I was like, oh yeah. I don't want him to like, what else you do? But I heard it. And, one of the things that we were laughing about it years ago as adults. And my father shared the story with us then. He said he had just came home from a fire that killed a family of 5 because the little boy was playing with magic.
That was a trigger. That triggered the heck out of him when he came home.
So he was carrying that and he didn't say anything about it. He didn't talk about it. He didn't pause. He didn't reach out to someone and say, listen, I need to talk about this or this. That the other one he saw was right before his eyes as he was getting ready to lose his whole family to the same he dealt with a moment ago. So, they our men carry it. So when you show in this trailer, is that, for African American men, it's okay to seek help.
Yep.
It's
It's
okay.
necessary. It's necessary to seek help. Now, the help that you get now, Taraji P. Henson did something very, very interesting since this COVID happened. She has a foundation, the Boris L. Henson Foundation, the BHL Foundation, which is for her father, who was also a veteran, and he had some issues. He had some issues that he was dealing with. And she was giving away free mental health visits with Black providers to Black people. Because in my mind, if I go to the doctor about depression, my set of circumstances behind my depression may be quite different than, I'm just going to use Susie as a name. Susie, she'll go and, Black people in America fought so hard for inclusion, right? That could take us to a whole nother story. But what I want to say to that is, even though every mankind is more alike than we are different, there are certain criteria that you have to take into consideration. And when you're dealing with mental health, you really have to get to the person's experience. And my experience can be quite different than what Susie's experience was. So that same doctor is going to have to treat us differently. And I know that for so long we've been fighting for inclusion. Treat us the same. Some things you have to tweak. Things you have to tweak. And I think that mental health is one of the things that needs to be tweaked a little bit, because there's mistrust, there's misdiagnosis, there's over medication, there's lack of medication. It's just so many different factors that
I agree. I agree. And I say that, like you said, there's so many different background factors that goes into things. And sometimes it's hard to find a good doctor that actually listens to, because sometimes you may go in and have a conversation and they'll hear one part of your story, and that's only what's locked in on.
They run with that, you know.
But the idea is to make sure that you keep trying until you find the right one.
Yeah, that's right.
That's going to listen. I know a friend of mine that lived in Philadelphia that moved, and she found the right niche with the doctor.
Okay.
And the doctor, even though she moved away, the doctor did virtual visits.
I know, that's right.
You know what I mean? And that's what you call the right fit, the right niche. Someone that is concerned about your mental health. Not concerned that they're scared for you, but concerned because they want to make sure that you continue to get the help that you need.
And you get well.
We are on Sador Radio. This is Deeva Gordon. This is the Deeva Show. I'm on every second and fourth Thursday from 12 noon until 2 p.m. Today we're extended just a little bit past our time, but I am talking with filmmaker Yolonda Johnson Young, a very good friend of mine. And one thing I want to say before I finish this part. One of the things that I will say is that how could I say this? You have friends and you have associates. Too often, people will say, "Oh, that's my friend. That's my girl. We go way back." Da 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 da. But in the next conversation, they're like biting the back out.
Yep.
I have a very small village. small village.
Yeah.
And you and me, Lonnie, you know, we can go like time without talking with each other. And then when we do talk to each other, it's like, you know, that
We
time.
just spoke yesterday.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
That's a friend, is someone that you can talk to about anything. And what I'm going to encourage you all to do is, if you have a friend, although they may not be able to give you that direct unbiased all the time, hopefully you develop a certain trust that you can let them know that you need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while we have so many associates that, you know, people hang out with and go here with and this, that, and the other, you know, it's always good to have that friend in your circle that you can talk to about anything. And I'm thankful to have you as a part of my village, and quite a few others as a part of my village. So, as I said, we're talking to Yolonda Johnson Young, and WHYY will be streaming Finding Elijah on Tuesday, September the 29th at 7:30 p.m.
Yep.
Sure. And it's during National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month that we're in here now, September. Today is also National Suicide Prevention Awareness Day.
World Suicide Prevention Day. Yes, the whole world. Yes.
Make sure that you check her out on the social media pages. She is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Finding Elijah, so that we can follow along with her journey with the film. And also a lot of times, Yolanda, you put out a lot of information for people in assistance with prevention of suicide, as well as different walks and things. I remember we did that out of
yes. I think that was 2018 we did it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I tell you, it was a phenomenal experience. And I'm just going to say that it was a phenomenal experience. The love, how could I say, the love outweighed the pain.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
The
does.
love
It really does.
out there, because it's like, you just, how could I say, you just feel people when you're there.
Yep. It feels like you have a blanket, like something, like you have a covering.
Yes. Yes. And
like
I felt that in every way. Unfortunately, won't be able to do it outside, but
I know. You know, well, we're gonna walk. We're gonna go over to Belmont Avenue. There's like a man-made near the Man Music Center. There's a man-made pond, and we used to walk my ex-husband's dog there. So I think that Benjamin and I are gonna get the selfie stick, and we're gonna go do our walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I could not get this up on Facebook at the same time, but it is recorded. So I'm going to upload it to my Facebook page, to my YouTube page, and I'll make sure that I tag you. And thank you so much. And if you all can, go to Fox 29 and review the video that Ms. Young did.
I should have gave you that link too.
Well, it's not too late. You can always send it to me. But make sure that you check out Fox 29's Good Day, correct? You were on Good Day this morning.
Yes, that was awesome. That was an awesome experience. I was a little nervous, but it worked out good.
I'm sure. So we're going to wrap it up. This is the Deeva Show. I really thank everyone for tuning in. And I'm going to see you all on the 4th Thursday at 12 noon until 2 p.m. All right. Love you, Lonnie.
Love you too, babe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.